Hi, my name is Hassan, and the following video is made to educate commuter workers on policies and organizations that are working to lower the high cost of living in Santa Clara County. My topic for this video is how Santa Clara County is facing a serious cost of living crisis, and commuter workers are feeling it every day. High prices are pushing people farther away from their jobs, and many are ending up in WUI zones, which are areas that face higher risk of wildfire and force long car commutes. Meanwhile, students, low-wage workers, and organizations like SEIU 521 are fighting for cost of living adjustments, also known as COLA, so they can afford to stay in the communities where they study and work. At the same time, affordable housing programs like low-income housing tax credits, also known as LIHTC, help low-income families live closer to urban centers. One of the most active organizations working on this problem is SV at Home, which advocates for more equitable housing policies and teaches residents about LIHTC to reduce displacement and housing inequality. SV at Home is working to lower cost of living near universities, a problem described by my first source, Wildcat Imaginaries, From Abolition University to University Abolition, by Yulia Gillich and Tony Boardman, which describes how wages for college students and workers are not fit to support living near universities, and a COLA is a helpful form of combating these low wages. In Santa Clara County, and especially on college campuses, wages are too low, and cost of living is extremely high, to the point where the cost of living in the surrounding areas is too unaffordable for the average university student or low-wage worker. Students in these areas are calling for what's called the cost of living adjustment, also known as COLA. According to Gillich and Boardman, this action is meant to make sure wages can keep up with the basics of housing and rent. SV at Home is tackling this problem by advocating for more affordable housing in these areas. The group is specifically focused on large-scale housing projects like apartment complexes near campuses and city centers, so workers and students can get where they need to go on time. In addition, organizations like SEIU 521, a union, are working to get fair wages to employees. These organizations are working to tackle both sides of the equation by raising wages and lowering cost of living. Green's argument supports that the housing crisis in Santa Clara County persists because scarce, high-priced single-family homes become fuel for displacement. But SV at Home is combating this by developing large-scale affordable housing projects. According to author Richard K. Green, another way to look at the housing crisis is through the lens of an economist. As you may know, housing in Santa Clara County is expensive and scarce. City centers are often filled with single-resident homes that are priced in the millions. And with the lack of homes comes an influx in demand. My understanding is that this creates a rough situation where houses are being priced sky high since someone wealthy is always willing to buy them, and in turn, this moves residents into the outskirts, which I will get into later. SV at Home is helping to stop this by creating a simple solution. SV at Home is using their resources, knowledge, and connections to build large-scale developments in these city centers, properties like 7 Topgolf Drive and 525 North Capitol Avenue. These two properties are large-scale projects that work to create an affordable supply of houses in the county. As stated by Miriam Greenberg, rising housing costs are displacing residents into unsafe WUI zones and large commutes, but SV at Home plans to reverse this by creating affordable, centrally located housing near major employers, city centers, and schools. As I stated earlier, high costs are displacing residents into the outskirts of cities. These outskirts are particularly prone to high-risk events and natural disasters, like wildfires, since they are placed in areas with less urban planning. Experts like Greenberg and Miriam call these zones WUI zones, or wildland-urban interfaces. Not only are these spaces prone to disaster, but they are also turning workers into commuters and pushing them out of communities that they support. As it stands today, many residents displaced from high cost of living are forced to drive upwards of 45 minutes to work. According to Greenberg and Miriam, this creates not only an inefficient work system, but also emits large amounts of greenhouse gases from the use of vehicles. A solution that SV at Home is proposing is new housing projects within city zones. These housing projects are specifically focused on being near large employers and being affordable so that residents and commuters don't have to drive long distances to get to work. SV at Home also realizes how these issues affect local schools in the area, as campuses are forced into being shut down because students are unable to live near their schools. The unfortunate fact is that the people that are being used to support and hold up their local economies are being priced out into rural and unsafe areas. The unfortunate reality is that many workers can't even afford to live in the counties that they work to uphold.
The San Jose metropolitan area is the nation's third most expensive, behind only Manhattan and Honolulu, driven in large part by the high cost of housing. That means many workers can't live in the county whose economy they drive.
A major barrier to affordable housing in Santa Clara County is the lack of awareness on federal housing programs like LIHTC, which according to Oluku, Uche, and Chang has been proven to help in large cities, and SV at Home is working to educate developers on how to take advantage of these benefits. Finally, a lack of education regarding federally funded programs is a big issue around the housing market, especially a lack of education around the federally implemented LIHTC program. This program, which according to Oluku, Uche, and Chang, is especially helpful in large metropolitan cities. It works by offering federal tax credits to private developers for building or rehabilitating rental housing and reserving a portion of their units for low-income residents. The problem lies in the fact that no developers are being educated nor influenced to produce these properties. SV at Home is working to use their platform to educate and motivate developers by writing articles and producing videos. These videos and articles are also used as outreach to civilians to make sure that they realize programs like this exist. According to Oluku, Uche, and Chang, the benefits of this is that it influences more affordable property development in these metropolitan areas. Because the root of Santa Clara County's cost of living crisis is severe shortage of affordable housing, SV at Home is leading efforts to expand access through education, advocacy, and large-scale development projects. SV at Home is a housing advocacy organization and is central to the issue of cost of living. Since their inception, the organization has been at the front lines of educating, producing, maintaining, and creating affordable housing. According to SV at Home's Facebook page, the team is working on several projects within Santa Clara County, like Stevens Creek Promenade, a large apartment complex focused on providing affordable housing. SV at Home cares about these issues since the central problem to high cost of living is housing. The high housing costs are driving people out of the county, are lowering productivity, and are outright unjust. Housing is a basic right, and SV at Home is doing their best to make it abundant. Because wages in Santa Clara County have failed to keep up with soaring living costs, SEIU 521 is pushing for meaningful cost of living and wage adjustments so that workers can afford to live in the communities they serve. SEIU 521 is another organization working to better the cost of living crisis in Santa Clara County. The organization is more targeted towards the worker side of the issue and is focused on advocating for fair wages for workers in Santa Clara County. SEIU 521 is specifically interested because a lot of their members can't afford to live where they work, nor do they get benefits from their jobs. Unions help advocate for these basic benefits and fair wages. Wages are clearly not fit for current prices in Santa Clara County, and employers are the biggest ones at fault for this issue. The only way to solve this issue is with cost of living adjustment or wage adjustment, and that is exactly what SEIU 521 is trying to do for the underrepresented low-wage workers. Unions are particularly helpful for teachers, as seen in the interview clip from SEIU 521.
Union for all adjuncts, I believe, would mean a better life for adjunct professors.
SEIU 521 argues in the following clip that unions not only advocate for better wages, but also for benefits for teachers.
We need a union to fight for better wages. We need a union to fight for better benefits.
Together, SV at Home and SEIU 521 show that Santa Clara County's cost of living crisis is a combined problem of unaffordable housing and stagnant wages, requiring solutions that address both sides at the same time. The perspective of SV at Home and SEIU 521 come together to show how complex the cost of living crisis is. According to the website, SV at Home reveals the housing side and how without more affordable housing, people are being pushed out and displaced into outskirts away from where they work and get education. SEIU 521 talks about the wage side of the situation and how without real wage increases that match living costs, workers cannot remain in the county even if housing becomes available. Together, the two make it clear that cost of living is not a single issue problem, but shaped by both wage pressure and housing cost pressure. When combined, the perspective of SV at Home and SEIU 521 is clear. We need to lower cost of housing and raise wages. It's easier said than done, but these two companies are doing their part to help. By lowering housing costs and advocating for fair wages, SV at Home and SEIU 521 are helping to ease the cost of living while also supporting schools, reducing pollution, and helping rebuild a stable and connected community. Consequently, SV at Home and SEIU's 521's focus of bringing housing prices down is also bringing communities together and supporting education and clean air. According to SV at Home, and as seen by their educational videos, housing prices are causing families to move away from school systems. These moves are creating a lack of students in the student body and causing schools to close. Building these affordable homes are helping to further education. These new projects are also helping to keep people from commuting long distances to work. Currently, the housing costs are displacing workers and causing them to commute. The commuters are contributing to a rise in greenhouse gases. Lastly, communities are being established. People are being brought together through organizations like SEIU 521, and support structures are being put into place since people are a lot more effective as one. Santa Clara County's cost of living problem is a daily reality that hundreds of thousands of people are affected by. Every day, this housing reality shapes their lives. Their commutes to work, the schools they live next to, the security of their homes, and the communities they serve are all factors that are impacted by these low wages and high housing costs. Throughout this video, we've seen how sky-high housing costs and low wages put great pressure on students and workers across the region. SV at Home shows us there is an urgent need for affordable housing close to schools and jobs. Their work with LIHTC programs, city planning, and large-scale housing developments show how structural solutions are being put into place to create housing stability. On the other hand, SEIU 521 shows how wages are not able to meet the rising housing costs of the county. And this is causing students and workers to push for a cost of living adjustment to make sure that people can get their basic necessities. Together, these stakeholders demonstrate that solving the cost of living crisis requires action in building affordable homes and ensuring fair wages. SEIU 521 argues that unions are the best and most effective solution to work to raise wages.
We know that the right to join a union is the best way to raise wages, improve communities.
When housing becomes more accessible and wages reflect real life, communities can stay together, schools can stay open, people won't have to commute, and our air will ultimately become cleaner. It's essential that we address both sides of the cost of living crisis so that our communities can stay one. Thank you.